So I would like to invite my three panelists. So we've had a very inspiring woman with a keynote speech. I have also three really amazing and great women with three great projects. So I invite the three of them. Elodie Draperi, she's the CEO and co-founder of GiveVision UK. Jordina Arcal, she is the Deputy CEO of MGN Neuro. And Mamy Ingabire, she is the Managing Director of Charis Aero Solutions, Rwanda-based venture. The Elodie is a venture in the UK, and Jordina is a Spanish-based venture. And we've already heard some numbers about women in tech for the African continent, and also the 2.2% of VCs led by women that get funding. And if you look at the numbers in tech, you also get the same numbers. Just last year, only 10% of the EU application for patents were by women. If you look at startups led by women, we have like, if it's co-founding, 10%. If it's fully women teams, it's 6%. So I have this amazing team with me. And I would like to start by imagining that, you know, we are in the Eiffel Tower going up to the top in the elevator, and I am this really powerful person, and I have all the money in the world that you need, also business support, and you just have to tell me in 3 minutes what is your venture, what is your impact, what's your role to convince me to give you this money. And I know that Elodie has a video that she would like to share. So, and I would start with Elodie to tell us the story.
All right, so let's go to Paris then. So hi everyone, I'm Elodie Draperi, the CEO and co-founder of GiveVision. We started this business already from 2014 because we wanted to use technology for people living with severe sight conditions. So we want to change the standards, the accessibility standards for people living with sight loss. We work with people with different sight conditions, and we have developed a first wearable, the one you can see on the video, a wearable low vision aid. We've been tested it and developed, it's commercialized in the UK, and we also have clinical evidence that it does improve people's vision. So just a bit about the problem. There are more than 300 million people living with severe sight loss. And when we think about blindness, we think about someone with, you know, glasses and a cane, but actually people that are totally blind is it's 5% of the total. So we want to help 95% to, you know, be more independent and have a better quality of life. And right now we're working on a very exciting project, is how to develop a specific use case for our device to be used in stadium, to be used for sporting or cultural events. And we believe that through this way, we can then bring this device to more people around the world. So if you want to support accessibility for people living with sight loss, please talk to me. Thank you.
My name is Jordina Arcal, and I'm the Deputy CEO at MJN. Our company was born from a very personal story. Our founder, David, has a daughter called Marina, that she has been suffering from epilepsy for the last 17 years. If you don't know about epilepsy, living with epilepsy means living with uncertainty, not knowing when the next seizure is going to come. So living with constant seizures, with constant fear of falling down or suffering an accident. And like Marina, there are 50 million people all over the world suffering from epilepsy. And the 30% of them are suffering from what's called drug-resistant epilepsy, meaning that even though they are taking medication, they are still suffering constant seizures. So imagine not being allowed to do what we call normal things, such as cooking or stepping out a ladder, because you're afraid of falling down and hitting your head. So for them, we developed a solution, which is a portable EEG, portable electroencephalogram, which looks like a hearing aid, and it continuously monitors the electric brain activity through the ear canal. And we send all this information to the mobile phone app, where we embed an artificial intelligence algorithm that is able to predict the seizures. So we can alert patients in advance, and we can assess the risk of suffering a seizure. This is important, not also for only for patients, because they can put themselves in a safe position before suffering the seizure, but also for familiars, because they can feel safer knowing when their beloved ones are going to suffer these seizures. And on the other hand, we can provide very valuable information to doctors. Now, in between visits, there is a black box. With our technology, we can see patterns, and we can help doctors on prescribing better medication. We've raised more than 10.5 million euros, and we granted our commercialization in the whole Europe. So we are growing in Europe, and now we are looking for money to go to the US, so to jump and go overseas. So if you want to help people like Marina and other people suffering from illnesses difficult to treat in the brain, like Alzheimer or schizophrenia, just contact me, and I'll be happy to talk to you.
I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Mamy, Ingabire Muziga, the Managing Director of Charis UIS, based in Rwanda. This is a company that started in 2014. We provide drone imagery and advanced data analytic for intelligent decision-making to institutions, to companies, to maximize their potential to provide, impactful, services. So today we provide drone services, as I said, and in various sectors, that is in construction, in health, in environmental, sector. And what is very, maybe I'll just share a few use cases, what we have been doing with social impact, because our objective is really to identify challenges in our society, in our communities, and use drone technology to collect data in a very short time and provide, solutions to those challenges that has been identified in our society. And so that is really our drive. And that's how you will see we have so many lineup of solutions, but I'm just going to talk about two of them. The first one is using drone technology in agriculture, when it's all about precision agriculture, providing advisory services to farmers for them to increase, their crop yields. And as well, the second one, which I'll share as well, a very short video, if you allow, for testimonies, and that is in malaria control. As we all know, malaria is one of the killer diseases, especially in Africa. And what we have done using drones, we detect, mosquitoes' breeding sites. Those, you find them in, in wetlands, in all those places. And we use AI to detect places where we have mosquitoes' larvae. And we all know that most of the interventions that are out there are interventions to spray, insecticide indoors. But we have gone outdoor where the problem are, the source of the problem, and those are those breeding sites. And we use drones, pre-program all our flights to spray larviciding, and that larvicide, and that those are biological products that eliminates the larvae from the source, from those breeding sites. And this solution has been, used in Rwanda, in one of the communities where they had over 2,000 people sick malaria cases a month, for the whole year we had so many cases. But after using that solution, in a period of 8 months, we have a reduction of over 90%. So this solution has been approved, by the Ministry of Health, and today we are scaling up. Our solutions, our services are given in over 6 countries, 6 African countries right now.
So we just heard about 3 great solutions, all tech-based, so tech for good in this case, not tech for bad. And now I would really like to, I invite you during the coffee break to go and ask Elodie and Jordina and Mamy more about their projects. But now I would like to understand the people behind these projects. And last week, 2 weeks ago, in fact, I was with Elena in Vienna, and there was this lady pitching this solution to attract girls into coding. And basically, the research shows that after the age of 12, girls' interest by tech and IT really becomes much lower than for boys. And her story was, and she was working her first job in a very gender-friendly country, Sweden, and even though she was known as the girl in the 6th floor, because she was the only girl in the IT company coding. So now what I would like to hear from you is if any of you wants to share a story where you were the girl on the 6th floor.
I never felt as an outsider when it comes to tech. I think because of my childhood. I'm from a family of 8, and 7 are my brothers. I'm the only girl. So my parents have never shown that there is a difference between me and my brothers. Actually, they have given us, my dad used to give me a lot of work. Maybe because of time, actually, my dad has over 40 years experience in aviation. So now you can link it with drones technology. So he's one of our quality and safety advisor as well. So since my early age at 5, he will give me work to do to help him document aviation stuff. So I have never felt that there are some stuff for men and there are stuff for women. Actually, they have always shown me that I have all that it takes to do whoever I want to be. And I grew up with that mentality that there's greatness in me and I can do anything I want to do. And I grew up like that, since my childhood. And now I'm in, finding myself doing what I'm doing is not a surprise at all. Yeah, I think that's the story I can share.
So, Jordina?
Well, when I was young, my parents also encouraged me to do everything I could, but I guess they didn't understand me. In fact, I always felt like I was kind of weird. I have even a tattoo, not here, like stay weird, because I was like going to the other way in my family. They are all from the healthcare sector. So for my family, I'm sorry for you guys, you are kidneys with legs. So it's like they were always talking about kidneys and nephrology and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, with 12 years old, telling my mom and dad, Mom, Dad, I want to learn German because I want to go to Germany to study chemical engineering because I like chemistry and I like technology. So my mom was like, what? You are 12? So, and I did that. And I studied in Germany and I really enjoyed that. And I was weird to my parents, but they encouraged me to do everything I could. And I founded my first company in 2009. My first entrepreneurship was then with technology to help people with mental health problems. So doing therapy through technology, because I wanted to help people with the technology. And then my mom and my dad didn't understand that. They just were asking me, can you get a proper job? So I was like, they encouraged me to do it, but on the other hand, they were like, oh, look at your sister. She's a doctor, so you can get a proper job. And then I got a prize from the MIT. I went to Boston to study, and they were kind of starting to understand that, like, oh, MIT sounds cool, so maybe she's doing something cool. But then I sold my startup, and I joined MJN, And they were another time like, oh, now can you go to a proper company, please? So it's like, you're a girl, and in my career, when I was studying the degree in my university, we were 150 in the classroom, and only 15 were female. So it was kind of struggling against in doing something that was not meant to be for women. So all my life I felt like I was going to another way, like I was doing something weird. But I would say that, like you, my family really encouraged me. They never understood it. They still don't understand it when I told them that, okay, I'm going to Bari. They invited me to talk. My mom asked me, why you? It's like, okay, thank you, Mom. But I guess it's being fair to yourself and doing what you love. And this is my story, doing what I love and helping people is what I like, and using technology for that.
Elodie?
For me, it's a bit different. I definitely felt an outsider many times because I don't necessarily have a background in either tech or medical sector. But I mean, I can relate to what you said because my mom, she was a judge. She worked in public sector, so she couldn't understand this entrepreneurial nonsense. But I think for me, the very important message here is also that even if you don't have a background in tech, you can still make a lot of impact because as any business, we need, some good researcher, we need some good UX, user experience people, we need designers, we need all of that. And diversity in those profiles will make a big difference in the product that you're building. So I think I understood the importance of tech by also being part of important, some networks. And one of them that really helped me to understand that is a network called Make Sense for social entrepreneurs. And I think this kind of support system is really definitely important to help you go through those maybe like feeling of being an outsider.
So I'm going to add another question on this topic. When we talk about women in tech, one of the reasons that is advanced as why there's not more women in tech is because of lack of mentors, lack of role models. The three of you mentioned your moms in a certain way as the woman impacting you, but what about teachers? Was there any teacher, like when you were young that impacted you, other role models?
In my case, not women. They were men, mainly. I mean, I studied what I studied because of a teacher that he was a man. And then I continued to entrepreneurship because of men working with me. So it was not female inspiring me. It was more people inspiring me and me not differentiating. I'm a woman, I cannot do that. And I say my mom because my dad never says, my dad always says, whatever you like. My mom is the one that it's criticizing a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember having necessarily, teachers talking a lot about entrepreneurship. And I mean, like 15 years ago when I was studying, social entrepreneurship is definitely more something now that you can, you can learn and you have masters and degrees and so on. But at my time, I remember they were talking a lot about CSR. And I thought, oh, that is really something interesting, and I want to know a bit more. And this is how I got through to know more about social entrepreneurship. But for me, I will still say that my mom was a role model because of the impact she was creating through her job. And for me, that was like, this is, the key. Like, I want to do a job where I see the impact. I want to see the impact of people right away.
Just like the same, I don't remember having, a teacher like that. I think those who really had great impacts in my life are my parents, and mainly my dad. And even when I had to choose what I wanted to study, I have a background. I did biotechnology and applied life sciences. he never really questioned much about it. He said, if you love it, go for it. You can do anything you want to do. He built that level of trust, and I think that's really what made the difference. Yeah.
Okay, so, I've been working for many more years than you, since I'm older, and I've worked with many for-profit businesses and not-for-profit businesses, and sometimes people ask me, what really defines a social entrepreneur, a change maker? And my question, in 10 seconds is the people behind the business, and as we've already mentioned, it was mentioned here, the intentions of what they're doing. So now I would like to, keep digging into your personal story. You already told us that you trained as a chemical engineer, Mamy trained as a life science and biotechnologist, and you trained as a business. How did you get to start working in tech? What's the story behind it? I don't know who wants to start. You can start, Elodie.
So I mentioned about this network called Make Sense, and I've been really involved. So we were organizing, it's like a volunteer-based network, and we were organizing a lot of workshops to solve challenges, like specific challenge, 2 hours, great methodology, and I've been doing that on the side of my job. And then there was this opportunity to work in London and to develop the network in the UK. And I thought that me as a Frenchie, why not, So I did that, and through this network and a conference about social entrepreneurship, I met my co-founders. And then they were talking about these crazy glasses that could give sight to blind people, which I found, like from another planet. And then I was not sure at first, but when I saw the impact again of the first prototypes, that's when I was like, this is it. That's my project now.
First of all, technology is the application of scientific knowledge for practical purpose. And I cannot recall when I joined tech. I think it has been a way of life for me, because I'm one who is driven by finding solutions to challenges around me, finding new ways of doing things to get the best result as possible, finding innovative ways, innovative methods to get things done. So I always find myself in that other side of looking for what can we do different to improve our lives. And having that knowledge has helped me to do what I do today. And that is what is defined as technology. So using the knowledge that I was, privileged to have to create innovative ways to respond or to address challenges in my society and community. That has been my force, Thank you.
Jordina?
So I would say, likewise, I've been always looking for solutions for things, and in fact, I started working in a research institution, and what I was doing there is bringing to market the research we were doing, so bridging the gap. And there were solutions that were great, but there were others that were like, well, okay, we are doing this because we are getting grants from the European Union, and that's it. So I wanted to go one step further, and I wanted to do something that helped people. And I guess that because at home everyone was talking about health, I related technology to health, like the way to help people and use it in a way that can create impact. And that's why I first founded my first company. And then when I met David and they just started the business, they were struggling with an electronic nose, and then they switched to another technology. I was like, well, I want to help that guys that are thinking crazy stuff that can help lots of people. So it's more about, I would say, it's heart-driven. It's what you like to do.
I see many young people in the audience, and I think it was Elena that mentioned, the capacity of social entrepreneurs to be really resilient, to bounce back, to learn, to fail, but always to keep coming, standing up again. So maybe it would be nice if you could share a couple of failures with your business and what you learned from them, just to inspire people that you are a very successful impact venture, but there's also some failures in the way to where you are now.
I would choose choosing the wrong partners on that trip. I got robbed by one of my first co-founders. So when there's money, when your startup starts to raise, and I have to say that I haven't done things properly in the legal way, you can get a little bit tricky on there. So choose correctly with who do you want to share this beautiful trip, because you'll spend lots of hours on that one, and my husband can tell you spend more hours in the company than with him. So this is one of the things I would say, and the other thing is like being stubborn on your technology, not being open-minded to change. This happened to us with MJN, with the electronic nose. We knew that dogs could smell seizures, so we wanted to develop an electronic nose as a solution, and we got a little bit stubborn on that, but we failed. We failed a lot. And then we read an article about learning the electric brain activity near the ear canal, and we thought, oh, maybe doing something here can help. And we switched, but we spent a lot of effort, money, and we lost some colleagues on the way, being stubborn on the technology. So this would be my other advice, not being stubborn on that, and then being taught and being convinced that you can do it, because I've also felt that sometimes when you are down, it can be very tough, and I've seen colleagues going out of our project because they were down and they were not more convinced.
Elodie?
Yeah, for the two main, I think about investment, because I think when we started, it was also it's quite trendy when you're a founder to raise a lot of money. It's like a very nice KPIs, and then you can be a bit like take away by focusing on meeting as many investors as possible and, changing your pitch deck like 1,000 times. But yeah, I think we wasted so much time, also because we didn't, select the investor properly, because investors that understand, the product lifetime of a medical device is very different than an investor looking for an exit in 3 years. So all this knowledge, it's better to really spend some time at the beginning understanding who is your investor, rather than trying to talk to everyone in the room. And the second, I think, well, there are, definitely a lot. I would think maybe a bit about the team members. Maybe focus more on the personality than the skills, because there are a lot of time you can get the skills, the knowledge, the skills. But when it gets tough and you have like difficult personality, it doesn't make the ride easier.
It's actually the same as what she just said. Is the challenges that we had mostly was in staffing. The kind of work we do requires you don't have a ready skill out there. You don't have talents who are ready to do this work. So most of the time we find ourselves really training people from scratch, all about drones technology, and all about, processing images, the GIS behind it and everything. So sometimes you're looking for skills, and by the time they are in the team, there's personalities, there's a lot of things that you have to build, values that you have to build in people. So we realize after, 8 years that there's a lot of work to be done, and we have really to look at the personalities as well for us to be more successful in what we are doing. So that has been one of the challenges, and yeah, a good one, which we have already working on it to find ways to keep developing, building capacity of our staff. Thank you.
Let me ask you a question. Are you an optimist or a pessimist? What works for you?
I'm definitely an optimist. But I have two co-founders that are not, and I think it's a great balance. But I will tend to see potential and then be like, you know, all positive and yeah, so.
Likewise. The same, exactly the same.
Yeah, you cannot be, I think being optimist is what really will make you keep going. So believing in the solutions you have, believing in yourself, definitely challenges are there on the way. But for me, challenges or whatever failure is for me to learn and to use it for, you know, doing even much better. So you keep going and believing that definitely everything will fall into place and work for you. So being optimist is very important for innovators like us. Yeah.
That's exactly the reason I asked the question, because you both, the three of you, had the spark on your eyes when you said, definitely an optimist. And I would like the young people in the room to see that a change maker is always, by nature, an optimist. So it's like a pleonasm. You are a change maker and you are an optimist. So for me, entrepreneurship goes hand in hand with human growth and self-improvement. So what would be the advice that you've had several years in your career, in your life as a change maker? What would be the advice that you would give to your young self if you were able to do so, so we can share some thoughts with the audience?
Yeah, first of all, like I said, you know, there's greatness in every one of us, so believe in yourself. That is first. Nobody will believe for you. So believe what you have, and I believe everyone is here to solve a challenge or to solve a problem. So go up there and do it. And one of the things I always say, dreaming, you keep dreaming until you take action. So action is very important. Make sure that you are committed to, you know, providing the solution that is needed. And one of the amazing things you mentioned about growth, you know, I believe that for one to grow or to be successful, it has to be intentional. So you have to be intentional about it, because success doesn't just happen. It doesn't just happen overnight. So you have to plan for it. You have to go for it. You have to make it happen. And personal growth is very important. In the field where you are interested, the solution that you want to provide, make up your mind to grow in it. Make up your mind to keep learning. Make up your mind to have that personal growth plan. Is very, very important. And the last thing, I always say that life is all about choices that we make every day. So make sure you make the right choice, and as well, do the hard work. There's no shortcut. Do the hard work. And actually, that's what will take you to the top. Don't go for the easy thing. Even if when it's hard, go for it. And definitely, there's a light on the end of the tunnel, as we always say. Thank you very much.
Jordina?
So
Sorry.
I would build up on that and just say dream big. I would say this is the great advice you should give to anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur, because it's about that. It's about being trusting you can do it, and dream big, guys. I mean, don't think that, in my case, because I come from a little town in the middle of nowhere, I cannot do the things I do, and I cannot impact in the whole world. Now I think I can, but when I was starting, maybe I was not thinking that, so I would just add dream big on that thing.
I would just add to that, because yeah, I think the confidence point is so important, and it's so normal to have fears and doubts, but yeah. But also for me, what is really important on the long term is to start building your support system, you know, as soon as possible in the journey, because yeah, it's tough and people have done it before. So just like, you know, leverage people's experience, people projects, people contacts, people network. You're not going to reinvent the wheel. So just like, you know, surround yourself by also kind people that can just, you know, hear you complain, or just, you know, that can relate to your story. It is so important also for your mental health. So that's really, yeah, an important point for me.
So my final question is, you know, you with your impact ventures, you've challenged the status quo. You are changing tomorrow now, as someone was saying. I just want you to tell me one superpower that you have, because I believe that you guys are like magic heroes. One superpower that has helped you challenge the status quo. Each one of you. What you think is your superpower? So.
I think my superpower would be how I mobilize end users, so beneficiaries, and I leverage their voice and you know, use them really as the great advocates to help the cause.
Jordina?
I would say my superpower is overcoming tough moments, like making possible things when everyone thinks it's not possible. I would say this is turning it around would be my superpower.
Mamy?
Wow. I'm actually thinking of many things that came to my mind. But I think what is very important as an innovator like us is to not just to go and impose your solution. Actually understand the challenges, identify the problem that the person has, and from it, you provide what he actually needs. So being able to connect with your society and providing exactly what they need, that is what is very important. Thank you.
So I hope that you are as inspired as I was by listening to these 3 amazing projects led by 3 great women. So please join me on a round of applause for them.